Oh my gosh. Can you believe it? Jeremy's actually doing an Ambitions episode review within 24 hours of the episode airing. Yes, my friends, Ambitions fans. Episode 5 of season 1, Killing Me Softly. I rewatched the episode. I got my notes in front of me, so this is like my first official episode review. I did a review for episode 1, but that was pretty much a first impressions kind of thing. But yes, I got the notes here, watched the episode, and technically speaking, this is probably going to be the first episode that I officially give a score to. And if you enjoyed this episode review, let me know in the comment section below. And if you want, I will probably go back and do episode reviews of 2, 3, and 4, because I do know there are people on this channel who are like, Jeremy, I haven't watched Ambitions yet. I missed the haves and the have-nots. I know it's not coming back until 2020. I'll wait until you do your reviews, and based off your reviews, I will watch the show. So that's a tall order to actually have a good number of people only watching Ambitions based off my critique. And I'm going to be honest here and do a review kind of like the haves and have-nots. So here we go. We pretty much start off the episode with Greg Peters. Honestly, we start and end the episode with Greg Peters, and basically not even delivering a threat, but a promise that he's going to be done with Carlisle and Perkins because of the fact that they weren't able to deliver Thelma's place, basically where Rondell works at. And I guess you could say Stephanie's father, the easiest way to put it, he is not pleased with Stephanie trying to go behind his back, usurp Greg Peters from him in order to solidify her spot as taking over the family firm one day. But in order to get Greg back, because remember, this has been something that's been going on since episode 1, no Thelma's place, so they need a miracle to get Peters back on their side. So they have to double Greg's income by some way, shape, or form. We go over to Amara's workplace. Titus is there bringing her coffee. Damien freaking Collins shows up, and he's the man that Amara had an affair with back in Birmingham. Titus is not pleased. I guess it's the best way to put it. I believe Damien is the new assistant U.S. attorney. And before I go any further, I think this is something that I definitely would have said in previous episode reviews. I think what really has me going for this show so far is the fact that we're seeing a decent amount of black people, but in very, very high level positions of power, whether it be mayor, a family law firm, working for the U.S. attorney, basically like just high government official status within different states. I think that's a very good thing. It really does give me a good vibe about the show. But basically, we go back to Stephanie and her father, and I guess you could say Stephanie is, and you will find as I go through this review, Stephanie is something else. I mean, does she even sleep? Because she's popping up everywhere trying to get dirt on people and secure her spot. I will say Stephanie is pretty much like and I'm a sucker for Gone with, look, I know we live in a very easily offended time in 2019, and I remember reading watching like a video about, should we still watch Gone with the Wind? Look, it's one of my favorite films. I was introduced to it like 3 years ago, and I read the book too. I actually own the book. Yes, it was written in a time where things were very different for black people and white people in terms of the way we treat each other. Not to say this, it's not perfect, but it's better today than it was back then, just to put it that way. And Stephanie Lancaster reminds me of Scarlett O'Hara in the fact that she will lie, cheat, steal, and kill in order to get what she wants. And I have to admire that about Stephanie in regards to, she keeps me invested in the show. Every time Stephanie shows up, something is about to go down. Let's just put it that way. So basically, unless Stephanie gets Peters back with the firm, Stephanie's going to be fired. And it's just something else. It is crazy because if Stephanie would have done things her father's way, basically using Evan as the puppet, if you will, then this wouldn't have happened. And to be honest, he has a good point, because if Stephanie didn't do what she did in order to promise Thelma's place when Evan and everyone else failed, then there's a higher probability that Peters wouldn't have walked away from them. So she has to basically clean up her own mess. Now, then we go back to Thelma's place. I believe the name is Kent, who I also believe is the chief of the police chief in Black Lightning. So that's pretty cool. I just love these different characters I've seen on various shows before. Basically, Evan shows up. He's a bit suspicious. Long story short, Rondell's trying to get signatures. It's almost like a you help me, I help you kind of situation where at first Kent wanted to get dirt on Evan. Rondell wanted to use his status in order to get the signatures to save Thelma's place. So it's pretty much is it symbiosis, symbiotic? Yeah, symbiotic relationship. Dang, reminds me of like biology back in elementary school. But in any case, Evan comes by and he's suspicious. He's like, I heard Amara was hanging around here. Now you're messing around with Kent. Basically, Evan is rightfully paranoid because of these people trying to dig up dirt on him. Thelma's like, you know what? I can look out for myself. And I don't want to say oblivious, but it's like, why don't you believe that there are people who actually want to be friends with me just because you forgot your roots? So it's kind of like one of those situations where it's kind of light tension between them. Bella puts on a true performance. Okay, that was a bad point. When Broderick comes over, Broderick ain't hearing none of that. He pretty much knows she's lying about everything in regards to being robbed and the fact I saw Evan leave your apartment the other night, or excuse me, the loft the other night. That's his son, isn't it? And then she pretty much just puts on an act like, hey, he was the one that brought me out here. He financed the loft and Bella True, and he threatened me and just said all these things, basically making it seem like she's the victim and she had nothing to do with the whole freaky deaky stuff they were doing. Like, hey, he made me have sex with you so he can watch because he gets off and that kind of stuff and yada yada yada. But then, you know, Broderick leaves saying that he's going to expose him. Let's see here. Amara and Damien talk in the hallway. He pretty much just somewhat unconvincingly convinces her that, hey, you know what, we're over. I just saw an opportunity to do a good job. So there's that. They pretty much just, I guess you could say it was pretty much a, hey, I'm not here for what you think I'm here for, because earlier in the episode, Titus left her office, you know, pretty heated because of the fact that he came to surprise her. And next thing you know, the guy she had an affair with popped up at the job, and he's not convinced it isn't something that wasn't pre-planned. Basically, we have Stephanie blackmailing Marilyn, trying to get. Now, I ain't gonna lie, this was a pretty dark scene, and I felt like, you know, and I've watched every episode, I just haven't done a ton of videos. I feel like this episode definitely had a stronger, darker tone to it as soon as the episode started. But I mean, with each episode, more and more things are being exposed, and it's getting. Guys, I know I should say this for the end, but if you haven't already, you need to start watching Ambitions. It's a pretty damn good show. But basically, Marilyn, did I say Marlon? My bad. I can't read my own writing. Marilyn's being blackmailed because allegedly she had an affair on her husband, Marvin, with like a rock star or whatever, and allegedly he overdosed. Stephanie moved the body to his pool and things like it was pretty dark. I was just like, whoa, what's going on here? But basically, her misdemeanor versus Maryland's scandal is like, look, what you need to do is convince your husband to move his construction plans and whatnot to Atlanta. And I'm just like, this entire episode is Stephanie playing on a chessboard. That's all she's doing. And every time we cut to Stephanie, it's just like, once again, when does this woman sleep? All right, now, then we got Stephanie going to see Greg Peters, pretty much to reassure the airport concession stand. But this is Carlisle's last shot to get him back. It's like, if you could secure the concession stand, airport concession stand, because I'm not like a salesman or whatnot, but you have 100 million people going through that airport each year. This is a great chance to double the income. So pretty much he's a miracle worker, allegedly. And the key thing to say here is Greg needs to see it to believe it. Then we have Carly and Lori. Look, guys, if you know from the haves and the have-nots, I love me some Amanda. She was the reason I got into the show. It's definitely Lori here when it comes to Ambitions. But don't get me wrong, there's a hell of a story here. But I don't even know how to explain it without sounding like, man, you're just such a guy. Carly wants more than sex in the shadows. It's just like, you know, hey, every time we see each other, clothes are ripped off and everything, and you have cold hands, and I'm like, cold hands? She's evil. She's planning something, Carly. Don't fall for it. She ain't real. She's using you. And it's like, no, it's more than just that. And I ain't gonna lie, I never heard this phrase before. Yeah, I'm sorry I took your gay virginity away or something like that. I'm like, I didn't know that was a word. But basically every time Lori's like, believe me, it's more than just that. I like you, but for obvious reasons, we can't be parading around Atlanta because of the controversy within the media and this and that, which makes sense due to the fact that they are both from powerful families and everything. So those two being publicized is not the best thing for them right now. But Carly invites Lori to a poetry slam, and Lori's pretty apprehensive. Like, look, didn't you hear what I just said? And she doesn't want to make her mad, and it must be the hair. I don't know why. I'm a sucker for long hair. But yeah, Lori is upset because Carly leaves because she feels like she wants, well, no. She knows that she deserves and wants more than just, clothes ripping off every time they see each other. I'm like, is there a problem with that? But anyway, next we got Evan and Stephanie. And I gotta admit, these two together are something else. This is kind of like the Veronica and David or Jim and Catherine relationship on the haves and have-nots. They can't stand each other, but they realize they need each other. And that's the one thing I will admit that the Lancasters kind of have over the Criers and the Harringtons. Like, they, once again, can't stand each other. I mean, hell, Stephanie had a gun to Evan's head in episode 1. But they realize that they need each other in order to move up the ladder, which is amazing. So Evan was pretty much playing the role of Greg Peters in this situation, not believing what Stephanie has planned unless he sees it. But on top of that, it's like, hey, I promised the airport concession stands to Peters, but I got, excuse me, Marvin, is it Mops? Look, I couldn't catch the last name, but basically she said that she could secure the construction plans being moved to Atlanta. And once again, what was it? Was it Anthony Anderson's character on the movie 2 Can Play That Game? One of my favorites growing up. It's like, the FBI ain't got shit on a woman with a plan. And it's just like Stephanie is playing 5 games of chess at one time. And look, I remember at family reunions growing up playing bingo with 5 or 6 cards and winning because I was able to pay attention like that. But with chess, this is just, I don't know. Stephanie is just pulling tricks left and right. But anyway, they go downstairs. Bella's waiting there. Evan has a dumbfounded look on his face because it's like, oh no, you got robbed. Oh, that's terrible. And Stephanie's like, no, she could stay in our guest cot until everything is good to go of her old place. Evan mistakes is living on. Oh, see, I'm sorry, I can't read my own writing. Evan is basically Stephanie invites Bella to stay the night in the guest room at their house, and Evan's face during this scene is priceless. It's pretty much, once again, having to have nots reminded me of Catherine letting Celine still work at the house because every day, Jim is reminded of his mistakes. So that was pretty interesting. But the question is, Stephanie knows about damn near every affair and who's had their legs wrapped around who in Atlanta, Georgia, but she doesn't seem to know that Bella and Evan have been having an affair, not to mention a child by Evan. It's kind of like, it's almost like, does Lois not know that Clark Kent is Superman kind of thing? You know what I mean? Like back in the day watching the old cartoons and reading the comics, it's kind of like all this time they spend together, she's an investigative reporter, but she doesn't know about the dual identities kind of thing. So it's kind of weird. But in any case, well, what is it they say? It's easier for you to see the faults in everyone else, but not the faults in yourself. So that might actually ring true with Stephanie and her marriage, man. But in any case, Titus and Amara are pretty much at their house. After Amara gets home, Titus is pretty much saying that, hey, as long as he's here, then things between us aren't going to be easy. It's like trust issues. So basically, the reason they moved from Birmingham to Atlanta was to kind of rekindle their marriage and fix the problems after the affair. But now the reason for those issues has come to where they moved to. It's almost like moving schools because of a bully, but then the bully comes to the new school kind of scenario like that. And Damien breaks in and what, he's sniffing Amara's panties or something like that when she was in the shower. She assumes that it's Titus' home, and I don't believe she saw Damien at all. Then we go to Rondell and Kent. Basically, Rondell's confronting him after Evan suspected that Kent is just trying to get dirt on Evan through his sister. But Rondell's like, look, if you want me, even though at first you said, it was with ill intentions, but now you say, no, it's now because I like you. You need to show it. Basically, that's the rundown of that. Broderick bashes Evan on TV. Evan pretty much pulls a freaking Dark Knight. He's like, this is my town. I run Atlanta. I know I can't really do a good Batman impression like that. My voice is kind of shot right now. But the main strategy here is he actually recorded everything on his phone. This is my town. Bitch ass. Boom, he got the kick. And I'm just like, well, Evan, it's like, look, I ain't underestimating Evan. Trust and believe. I'm very confident that he's taller than I am, and I'm not a fighter. I'm just saying, like, would Evan have been talking as big and bad as he was if his two goons weren't there? You know, what kind of sticks? Were those shock sticks or something? I couldn't really tell. I don't know. But either way, Broderick took a beating on purpose, and he has it all on his watch. Now, don't get me wrong here. I'm not a, I know, like, when you look at how Evan, where he came from to where he is now, you would think after beating someone down, you would kind of take their jewelry or whatnot, but, well, he is married to Stephanie, and they're both pretty well off, so I can see why he didn't take it. But, I mean, kind of jokingly as a consolation prize for, like, you know, making fun of him on TV and whatnot. So, So, yeah, everything's on the watch. I guess you could say time will tell the tale as to whether or not Broderick's going to blackmail Evan. Okay, I know my puns are off, but guys, remember, this is my first Ambitions video, okay? Okay? But anyway, we get down to Lori showing up at the poetry slam. Everything's all well and good. Pretty much it was a secluded area, like Carly said. And you could definitely tell Carly had a poem inspired by her thing going on with Lori. But the mistake is they made a sign, I guess you could say PDA, public display of affection. Look, I'm single and it shows because these acronyms are very confusing to me. Public display of affection. A girl actually takes a picture, and then she probably posted. So basically what Lori said actually happened. You know, oh my gosh, this is why we can't go out together because people will see. But I don't think the problem was Lori showing up. I think the problem was taking the moment to kiss, and then, you know, we literally live in a world where everyone's watching you whether you know it or not. I'm not talking like, you know, the government and whatnot, but I mean like people will just take random photos like it's paparazzi and you never know where it's going to turn up. So this girl probably just has a standard number of people on her Instagram and whatnot, or wherever she posts to, and then they'll say, hey, isn't that the mayor's daughter? Hey, isn't that the Purple Ford daughter? Dun dun dun. And yeah, it's not going to be too good in the next episode. Stephanie and Damien have a brief talk in her car, pretty much kind of summarizing, hey, I showed up at the job, Titus was there, he freaked out, goes in for a kiss on Stephanie, but she ain't having it. And it's like, well, Stephanie, you know, I know it's only 5 episodes in the show, but you have sexual tension with just about damn near every man on the show. You got me in the car and we're not even going to kiss? Hell no. She ain't having it. Then kicks him out of the car. And basically the plan is to destroy Amara and Titus's marriage. You know the funny thing is about Stephanie? Like, every time she shows up is to build upon the chess game she's playing in order to elevate her status within the city of Atlanta. But she still has time just to F up Amara's marriage just because she feels like it. Wow. Then Kent pretty much turns out Thelma's placed into a romantic night for Rondell. Well, like a foot bath, her favorite dinner, throws on some Luther. And that's the one thing about the show, if nothing else, definitely I feel like Black Lightning and Ambitions are two shows that are definitely ones I would recommend for nothing more than just the soundtracks they play. Like the old, look, I was born in 91, so I remember growing up where you would wake up unintentionally during a weekend or whatever, or during the summer when your mom has the day off and she's playing the vinyl records of old school music, which you hated because that meant you had to clean. But at the same time, I'm 27, but I love that music. Luther, Motown, Michael, Prince, all that stuff. So Luther came on, set the mood. Hey, the night's about you. We'll worry about the signatures and everything tomorrow. We still got 4 weeks left, so that was a great scene. And if I'm not mistaken, looking at everything, the last scene is Stephanie going over to see Greg about the letter. Hey, I got everything secure for the airport concessions. Peters is back with Carlisle Perkins. And unlike Damien, Greg gets lucky. Well, then again, he had a knife to his neck, so... Well, at least Stephanie didn't stab him like Rondell did. Well, actually, Rondell didn't stab him. Greg purposely walked into the knife, and that was in episode 1. So, yeah, they go at it. And I'm like, uh-oh, what if that girl's on... what if that girl with the phone pops up and takes a picture of those two? So, yeah. Folks, I gotta admit, I'm going to give this episode 9 out of 10. I know that's kind of like, Jeremy, a 9 out of 10? Yeah, I actually enjoyed it from start to finish. It was a pretty good episode. Like I said, we're only 5 episodes in, but the story is getting very, very deep. And I urge you, I don't know for sure, but is it on the Watch On app? I know they're doing a big announcement like, hey, all the first 3 episodes of Ambitions is on YouTube. Then they took it off. I don't know if the Watch On app still has it. I forgot, but find some way to watch it. I mean, I don't want to encourage illegally watching, but all I'm saying is, look, you find a way to catch up and then you watch it live each Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And to everyone listening to this video, thanks for joining in. This was definitely a blast. I will definitely be doing Ambition videos each week religiously now. The haves and have-nots still semi-priority because they're doing filming for seasons 8 and 9. Last week they did some reshoots for season 7, so behind the stuff scene is being leaked. I'm doing the videos because guess what? The show's off for 6 months. I got to keep the channel going to pay my bills, and I'm still trying to get 100,000 subscribers. If there are any of the cast members for Ambitions watching, thank you for putting on a great show. And I got, once again, I cannot say it enough. The cast of Ambitions has been amazing when it comes to sharing my videos, and that's a big thing for me. Like, they've been, especially Mr. Dark Knight, Evan Lancaster, or excuse me, Mayor Lancaster, Brian White. He is phenomenal. Be sure to follow him on social media. Rondell, her actress is amazing when it comes to social media on Instagram, and they're all great. Even Lori is phenomenal. She's my crush. Well, then again, I would say Daphne, but then at the end of last week's episode with the whips and chains, that got a little bit too freaky for me. I'm like, like Scooby-Doo. You know, every time I heard Daphne, I thought about Daphne Blake's from the Mystery Inc. gang. And then when, you know, Evan's face, when she burst out the whip and chains, it was like, ruh-oh. So I don't know. It's like, Daphne, I'm cool with you as long as we don't do all that stuff. But Lori, definitely my crush on the show. But we have a lot of beautiful women in this show. And then it's like, you know, well-looking men in the show. Because, you know, I don't really know how to compliment men without it sounding weird. But, you know, got some fly fellas on there. I guess it's the best way to put it. So let me know what you thought of Killing Me Softly. And by the end of this video, like I said at the start, if you're waiting for my reviews of the show to get a feel of whether or not you should watch it, I hope this video proved like, hey, you should get into the show. Like, I get it. Some people are apprehensive because of the themes of like nonstop sex and whatnot, but it's not as big a part of the story as I first thought. Because at first I'm like, oh, great, this is just another show about who's sleeping with who. But when you get into the meat and potatoes of the story, you can tell it's actually a story about corrupt politicians, people from different nationalities. It's a very diverse cast. I think that's another good thing about the show, and it's a story worth telling. So with that being said, I'm going to stop running my mouth. But if you are new to this channel, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button as well as the bell notification icon. On top of that, if you have already subscribed, I hope you take a moment to share this video. On top of that, tell a friend to come subscribe to the channel. I mean, look, we are what, 86,000 strong on the channel. So if not even a quarter of you tell one person to subscribe, we will hit 100,000 in no time. And my birthday is August 29th. I turn 28. It would be phenomenal to hit 100,000 before then. I mean, knock on wood. All I'm saying is this: Stephanie Lancaster going around getting these people to do all this stuff. If she can help me out with a way to get my student loan money that quickly, I'll be good to go. I'll be out of student loan debt. So Robin Givens, you know, if you want to hit me up or any of the writers of Ambition, tell me how to do that strategy. You can just go around asking for favors, like blackmailing this person, blackmailing that person. But that's another thing. I need to do a Stephanie video because I'm like, look, I get it, getting to where you want to go, but it's all going to come back on you at some point. That's all I got to say. But I will say, I talked about Evan being the Batman, the Dark Knight. Stephanie's the one with all these contingency plans. Let me shut up. You know what? This video is going to run 40 minutes if I don't stop. But guys, if that doesn't tell you that this show is good, I don't know what will. So once again, thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you like what you just saw, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, or if you have anything you would like to add to the video, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to keep up with me on social media, go to the description box. All of my links for social media are right there. Also, if you feel like you would like to donate to the channel, make sure to click on the link to PayPal. Any amount helps. $1, $5, $20. As a full-time YouTuber, any support from my fans really does mean a lot to me. Finally, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification icon. That way you're kept up to date on any new content I post to the channel. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in the next video.